Blue Star. What have you done?
Oh, I didn't mean it. All I did was just one constructive criticism of what was going on in the arc. I had no idea it would be blown to this proportion. I swear. Blame 4Life.
You were the one who advocated, and now look what happened. Look what happened.
I told you to not let him read a manga. Never again. He did it for Bleach, did it for Naruto, did it for Fairy Tail. He's going to do it again for My Hero Academia. If we let him touch any other series that's still ongoing, let alone the hiatus one, then we're doomed. Boom.
Yes.
Stop 4Life. I will start reading Gintama.
That's why the guy is ending his series, because you exist to read a series.
Oh, shade. Massive shade. It's a good thing Go Partner ended before Blue Star got into it.
Don't feel too bad, man. Don't feel too bad.
No, don't feel too bad.
Don't worry about it. Just try to read all the new series that Weekly Shonen Jump provided. That way you could please those guys who is very, very playing favoritism to every other old ones, because I don't know. I just don't know.
There's a trend going around. That's one.
Favoritism, man. Favoritism.
Very big favoritism. But this podcast is not about what's new and what's old. As you guys can tell by the title and by the intro, obviously, this is about My Hero Academia, the second podcast, which, honestly, actually, when it comes to this one was actually pretty planned out. I had always planned on doing, again, a My Hero Academia podcast, specifically for this arc once it finished. I mean, technically, you could say we could have another chapter, but I just felt it was too perfect. It was too perfect of an opportunity to go, like, let's talk about this. There's no way we're gonna skip out on this. So now I'm here with two of my special guests. Well, okay, technically one, because the other one is a cursed child.
Well, I'm sorry.
But okay. All jokes aside, I'll let my guests introduce themselves.
Am I going first, or is 4Life going first?
Well, since you spoke first, you go first.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am BlueStarSaber, and I'm apparently cursed when it comes to reading manga, according to these two knuckleheads.
Boo!
If I sound
Blue Star! Boo!
And if I sound cranky tonight, it's because 4Life was late, or Sparda3g, whatever you want to call this guy. As late as always. Thank you, 4Life.
I get that a lot.
It's nothing new.
Yep.
So
Anyway.
I guess it's
Oh, man, go on.
Look at that. You even ruined somebody's introduction. How dare you? But seriously, yes, it's me once again, Sparda3g, doing another podcast with Lucky Chi and that guy. So this is a good one.
You know, I'm just swear. You guys just having a go at me because I have no YouTube channel. I swear.
Well, if you have a login name, you technically have a channel.
Technically.
I don't use it.
So one does exist. He just admitted.
Just for that, I'm not subscribing to you guys. Okay, anyway, Sparta, continue with your introduction, sorry.
I'm actually done. They know me so well, so not really.
Yeah. Thanks, Togi Ghoul.
Yeah, I thank thee.
Yes.
Which you were even late for that for a change.
Life happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Anyway, the My Hero Academia Internship Arc.
Yeah, the internship arc, or if you guys want to call it the overhaul arc, because it's kind of that too.
It's
So
funny because I didn't know what's the name of the arc until I had to research myself. I'm
yeah,
like,
I know.
what is the
I did
name
the
of
same
this
thing. I was
arc?
like, wait, what's the name of the arc?
I was like, internship arc. It's like, yeah, I'll say that out loud to my friend. They'd be like, what? You mean they go to internship and they have fun with us? No, they go out there try to beat some guy who has like bird mask and shit like that.
I know,
Yeah,
Like
what
the
a-
yeah,
plagues
that's
of
what
you,
happens.
No, I know.
Plagues
I'm
everywhere.
like, what a misleading title.
Seriously.
And if you're wondering what we're referring to, look up the Great Plague of London. Trust me, that will answer so many things about this. But anyway, continue.
There's going to be not a lot of ways we're going to break down this podcast, but just enough to where you guys can be able to digest and understand exactly what we're talking about. So when it comes to this arc in particular, at least beforehand, because we had 2 arcs before the internship arc began. We had the hero licensing arc, and we had possibly, at least for me, the Hideout Raid Arc. Probably be one of the best arcs in My Hero Academia. If not the best, number 1. So,
Definitely has the best fight.
yeah, obviously. Best fight.
Wait, which has the best fight?
The Hideout Raid Arc. The one
Okay.
with All for One.
And one for all.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Yeah. All Might versus the big bad behind the League of Villains, all for one.
Someone you would think would be like final villain territory, but I guess you could say it's like final villain of the prologue, because that's kind of what it was. And the thing is, like, after that arc, you did have the hero license arc, which honestly, I actually really like the arc. I know there are some people that are like, it's kind of whatever, but personally, I really liked what they had to go through. It wasn't, I don't want to say it was like another sports festival. It wasn't that. Best way, I would probably say it's like a little mini sports festival. It's kind of like that. Only, like, it's still competitive, but they're aiming to achieve something. You know, they're like
Instead, this time it's the class, all the schools, not just the UA class, the UA school doing it. It's also all the other hero classes all competing to get their school and their teams to become official licensed heroes.
So I guess in a way you could think of this as like the Hunter exams, or what's another one? The Chunin exams.
Yeah.
I guess you could consider that as like a good comparison with this arc.
Of course, no bad guys in it. Well, actually, there is a bad guy, but that's more of a spoiler twist. But anyway,
Yeah, but like the arc overall, I actually thought was pretty. I actually really liked it. It's not one of my favorites, but it's definitely a good arc. That's for sure.
yeah, got quite a few character moments between Midoriya, Bakugo, Urakara, let's see, Shoto, and even Mr. Sparkly Belly Guy.
Oyama, I think. I think that's how you say his name. I could be wrong about that.
I know. You just know him just for the French accent.
Yes.
Wait, you can know him by French accents in the manga?
What? I'm joking. But yeah, like, for me, at least personally, when it comes to my expectations for what the internship arc was going to be, I don't want to say they were extremely high, but I was looking forward to seeing what was going to come, specifically, you know, again, after the Hideout arc and then after the intern arc, because, well, not the intern, after the hero license arc, because now they're established as, you know, fresh young heroes. So there was a lot you could go from when it comes to that.
Yeah,
and like that's kind of like, at least when it comes to before we entered into the arc, that's just kind of what I was expecting. But Blue Star, what about you?
Let's see. Well, let's see. I suppose we should summarize. Should we summarize what happened just with the arc, or should we wait a bit before that?
I think we wait a bit on that one.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I have to admit, from what I wasn't really sure where My Hero Academia was going at first. Granted, it seems like it was dealing with the fallout of All Might and All for One both being taken out in their respective things. All Might losing his powers, while All for One is captured. It seems now it's this all chaos going on with the heroes struggling to maintain order now that all the villains are coming out saying, hey, 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 All Might's gone. We can do all this shit now. It's like security cameras are gone. You can flip out or just take off your underpants and go about mucking like an idiot kind of thing. Except the thing going on with crime. Yes, that was a bad metaphor, I know. Apologies.
A shame, Blue Star. A shame.
I'm going to get that a lot in this podcast today, I know. Let's see. And then suddenly we find out this new group of villains who are planning to take the spotlight. That includes from the League of Villains, or at least use the League of Villains. It looks like we got the next big stain with this overhaul. Meanwhile, with the heroes, we're learning who are the top guys in the UA school and stuff. And when this arc starts, for the most part, it starts off quite well, but at some point during when the two sides clash, I think during like a little flashback to one of the characters that plays a role in this arc, things started to get a bit uneven pace, I say. And some ways still quite good, in other ways feels like some things were rushed. But overall, it's a good arc, just not great in the level you expect from My Hero Academia. That's what I had to say.
No, that's good.
Granted, that might have been a bit more final thoughts kind of thing, but yeah. Let's see. The arc starts off in the usual quality you expect of My Hero Academia, but it seems like it dropped that quality a little bit. Not bad, not terrible, but just
a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. Go on.
Just a little bit disappointing. I mean, it's not
little
Naruto.
Bit disappointing.
It's not Naruto level disappointing. I'll say that.
What?
Not Naruto disappointing?
What? You dare say this shit in my presence again?
I'm sorry.
Return to your dungeon where you belong.
No, I don't want to go. It stinks in there. And the only thing to watch in there is Naruhito crap.
Fine. You can be stuck with Boruto.
No.
Anyway, what were your thoughts going into the arc beforehand?
Like exactly right before it starts, like the arc itself, or while it was going on? Like, oh, we're in like 4 chapters in the arc, and so far it's doing damn good.
Yeah, like a little bit into it, like not like too far, but like say like when it was like opening up.
Well, I thought it was going well. I thought it was actually going pretty damn well. Like, I thought it was going to be probably the staple of the. Like, I remember looking back at I remember what I said in my reviews back when the arc was about to start, or even the ones that started already and it's just going on progress. So I remember saying that, this arc could make me start buying all the volumes in one setting. All the one sitting, I could just buy all the volume, probably get some figures. Yeah, get art book. Well, I like the art still, but yeah, something that would just make me tells me like, hey, you got to start becoming a huge fan out of this thing. This series is going places. So I'm thinking myself, but yeah, I should get ready and getting like being very 100% supportive. Even though I'm pretty much supportive doing the weekly Shonen Jump from the Viz Media, which that's good enough. But of course, I encourage everybody to support them by buying the volumes itself. Anyway, point is when I'm saying that this type of arc, it sounds very promising. The paper is there, the whole blueprint, the whole yada yada. Everything is saying sounds promising. You got, Night Eye who could see the future. There's like some emotional connection towards the idea of the future, even though they didn't try to do that approach until much later on, which kind of went overbearing, but we get to that soon. Yeah, you have that. You have many types of heroes, new ones and the old ones, and the one that was being hyped up, aka the big 3. They're all going to be placed there. They're making this into the most dangerous mission, especially the fact that there's no more All Might. That makes this whole tension high above anything, and the stakes is of this girl. Because she's a hostage, but she provides a tool for the villains to delete quirks, even though we find out the truth. But the point is, it is dangerous. So it's a lot at stake in this case. everything was writing onto this. Aizawa warning to Deku, even though he was more of a really, he stood out more of a really carrying Chicha in this arc, or at least in the beginning. Everything feels very heavy on the side of like what this arc is going to contain. So when the arc started, when you just got that big dude, it's not Rappa, it's just a real big dude. I don't even know his name. The real big dude just barge into the cage. You know, everything goes hell. Everything starts to go to hell, and it's only going to keep going down south the more you go down south, which is ironic. So yeah, it's like everything is setting up right there. You know, you got the whole Miria and Deku really belittling their own self because they messed up on one thing they could have prevented him, and they thought that the good idea is to not to do anything and just let the girl go. So it's like everything is right there. And while they do while some of them are executed in that in terms of the emotional connection, there are things that really didn't flow well. And yeah, like I expected this arc to be a monumental, like a much bigger deal, maybe not as the same magnitude as All Might versus all for One, but close to that. It's, you know, I was hoping they would end it with Deku probably saying like, I am here now, something like that, like something that was stapled that way. Like, yeah, this is the hero that everybody should be looking out right now, because he's going to be the one that All Might is going because All Might is gone. So now you got someone else soon to be born completely, and that is Deku. But you know, that I guess I was hoping for that in a way, or I was just hoping for more tension, more dramatic, especially that All Might no longer there. It just makes the duty into like a trip, like a
it kind
double.
of increases the stakes.
Right, it increases because you got no. It's like you know, it's like having a medic throughout the entire series. You kill the medic or you remove the medic. Now there's
no king to lead your kingdom.
Right, or the way how Dragon Ball used to do, where when people die, like well, they didn't die so often, but when King Piccolo killed the Eternal Dragon, you know, once you're dead, you're dead. There's no going back. There's no coming back to life because Eternal Dragon died. So it makes you go like, holy shit, this is crazy. Everything is on the line now, and Goku is pissed beyond belief. What is going to happen? You know?
Yeah, like the symbol of peace. Like he wasn't essentially dead.
But he wasn't dead, but there's no something that's
no alternative to him, to be honest. No alternative.
Right. So like, yeah, I understand the Hero License arc wasn't as good. You know, I thought it was all right as well.
It was more setup, to be honest. It was more
It's a setup, but you know, we have better setups before that. That's the problem. So with this arc, I was expected to be explosive because, again, if you go by the setup from the last arc, sure, that will make this one even a monumental. The only question is, did it live up to that? Well, we'll get to that discussion about like a few seconds now.
Yeah, like honestly, and I completely agree with you guys. That's kind of my expectations on the game to this arc too. Like it's like I said, my expectations weren't like so high, but I was curious to see exactly where we were going to go because of what occurred in the fight between All for One and All Might. And then, of course, like the very setup at the end when Toga got Deku's blood and reported out the Shigaraki, I was like, oh, shit. Like, we're going to go somewhere with this. And I mean, know what? Like, we still probably could. We still probably could because...
But it's probably not going to be something as dire as we originally thought.
Again, that's still left to be determined because My Hero, I mean, it's not in the beginning stages now, but it's still somewhat new. So we still got to wait and see exactly how that plot point is going to come into the future. Basically, I was just expecting the arc to be kind of similar to what how some of the past arcs have been. Just be pretty good, and that's it. That's all I was expecting from it. And now that the arc is finally done, what's everyone's overall thoughts on it? And I think this time we'll start with Sparta.
No, why me? Everybody's going to follow my trend then. I was hoping to know you guys, because you kind of pretty much know behind the scene, my opinion. So I was hoping you guys start off first. A positive opinion. Well, okay, that's giving away too much. But I'm talking about the new opinion that I don't even know from you guys personally. So if you don't mind, Blue Star.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Because every time Blue Star asks my opinion, I feel like I converted his decision. So please.
Let's see. Honestly, I feel like for this arc, I converted you on one particular thing. But anyway, go on.
At what point? Well, actually, just do. Actually,
Just go on.
Me?
Yeah, just go on.
All right, no problem. So after the entire build up and the last arc being considered to be down in the middle for many people, above the middle for me. This arc has to be big, and not only that, but it's probably the longest arc of the series. I think it is, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, because this arc, and I was actually researching on it, but this arc started back in November of last year, and right now we're actually in November. So
right.
This is actually the first arc that lasted 1 year.
Right.
And in fact, it's probably the first arc in My Hero Academia that has similar pacing to what the old shonen mangas pacing of mangas used to be, like Naruto, One Piece, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like
that's his. I mean, I guess you could call it nitpick on that end for me, because just hearing that is kind of a low blow deal.
I'm not referring to back when they sucked. I mean,
not suck, but it's like current shonen or the newer shonen or any other series, even if it's not shonen or it is shonen but not weekly shonen jump. I'm not saying the fight should be like 2 chapters long. Depends on what you do in that material, but the fight should not be in volume. I mean, personally, I think those are what's that word I'm looking for?
Like wasted space?
Not waste of space, but you know how, like, say for example, in the 90s, the movies used to love to do parody movies. If you do it in 2010s and up, they don't do it anymore. Why? Because it's a dead trend. I guess I could go for a dead trend, but even though it's not really a dead trend, but you don't see that often anymore. At least in my opinion.
More like it's overstayed its welcome kind of thing.
Yeah, it feels like such a Naruto Bleach era. Now we're in the era that's just whatever it is.
I guess the fast-paced trend, because
it's not really fast-paced trend. It's more like just get over it.
Yeah.
I think you could. I think it was more like My Hero Academia was able to make small fights a lot more engaging than what they used to be back in the old days.
Yes, but let me not jump ahead. So let me just say this. So this arc came about, and whether the arc truly did end it just now, or we probably have one more chapter, but then again, the next chapter is most likely an epilogue, so it doesn't really matter. But the point is, now we consider we could all tally up, and honestly, I just thought this arc was just underwhelming, like really underwhelming. Look, the art is still pretty damn good, of course, because this guy is really talented. There are parts that there's a little sketchy, but that's probably because he was, I would say, weak, for the lack of a better word, weak, and because I don't know. I hope he doesn't have a health issue, because there are some breaks that we did have. I believe there was like 3
at least
breaks.
3. Which I kind of noticed that too, and because My Hero Academia, as far as I know, it's been going on for 3 years, and this is the first time I've noticed where he's actually taken at least more than one.
More so, yeah, as much as Oda, which is a little concerning.
Yeah,
because Oda,
he takes about a break every few weeks.
Right, but in a way, it's okay because he has worked his ass off for the past 20 years now.
Yes.
17, I think. It's 20 years. Yeah, it's 20 years.
Yeah, so it's been so long, and plus, of course, age has to be a factor, and the art of One Piece, despite how simple it is, there's a lot of stuff keep happening in one scene. You could have like 88 fights in the background you won't even notice yet.
Remember, we have like a year to 2 years now before we get to Wano.
Yeah, well, that's a different discussion altogether. So yeah. But going back to the art, the art is still pretty damn solid. There are really a lot of great moments, a lot of great art, visual style, all that stuff. It still feels that comic style. The character, the one that gets shine, is really cool. the standout moment. The standout is the two of the big three, especially Mirio himself. He was the most standout part, and honestly, he's probably was the best thing that happened in that arc. In retrospect, speaking, he was pretty damn cool. Like he was like a bona fide hero, and it's not even based on the quirk itself. He was just legitimately a real hero. Like even when he lost his quirk, he's still kicking ass, and he still have that prideful of a hero. And that's like, yeah, there you go. That's the meaning of a hero. It's not relying on the quirk. It's not relying on I am the chosen one. There is nothing like that. He's just just who he is. That is pure and simple.
Just making a stance on it.
Yeah, that part was really damn good. Like again, it's like a lot. There are a couple of really good actions. I really enjoyed the action with Sun Eater versus the three guys, especially how the three guys were acting more of like the shounen trope that they do that we usually see, and
in fairy tale.
Well, yeah, but it's just funny because like you get the villain to have that trope. What else? Well, the Mirio part was pretty damn awesome.
Afterwards was the Red Riot stuff,
right? But that was good for something else. But I do like the end game part with Fat Gum. I did like that scene.
That was really good.
It's pretty much what we all wanted Choji to be like in the future.
But yeah, and Rappa was a cool henchman out of like 8 of them. He was like probably in the top 3 of the henchmen.
I believe they're called. The 8 Expendables.
Right. He was like they're bullets. That's who they represent. They're like bullets. But anyway, like he was like in the top 3 of the best of the 8 Expendables ones. There's some key moments that I like, been highlighted nicely. Some of the emotional connections, like again with Mirio, there is pretty stellar as always. The characters when they get their moments is really good. Something that, My Hero Academia has been doing well at times. So out of all things, the pacing was actually going well. It's weird because I just found out like there are people actually argue that the pacing was going too fast back then. I'm like, if it is, it sure didn't bother me at all. And like Stain versus the 3 guys, that was fast paced. Like really?
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty.
I mean, it was one of the so far that was one of the only 2 fights you could consider like boss volume length of in the My Hero Academia. The other one is like All Might versus All for One. Anyway, go on.
Right. I won't say negative outweighed the good. I'll just say it's too balanced out. It's very balanced out because the negative on my end, like the pacing, there are pacing issues, and not just because the fact that he has time to not because the fact that the mangaka have breaks at times because of a health issue or collecting data. It's not because of that. It's just some of the parts, mainly from the whole Red Riot one, it did slow down with the flashback, and some of the flashback in the later on scenes, it keep interrupting the flow. It keep interrupting the hype that you gain from the last chapter. And it's like when you see Deku barge in to save Mirio on time, you go to the next chapter and it goes flashback for almost 10 pages. Then you finally get to resume your hype. But it felt too long, and it should have just like go on from there. Like it should have just showed the part where
the flashback was like maybe say like 2 pages or something. Then it probably would have been a little better.
Right, it would have flowed better. The flow it has some issue. There are issues with the flow. Like again, this is the arc that actually introduced the narrator to talk about the flashback or the backstory. Like it has more of that than any other arcs that I recall. Like you do get that still, like the narrator thing, you get that from the past arcs, but it usually happens by the end or like right before the action even happens. But in this one, it happens so constant. It disrupt the flow. Like you get like, it's like, Eri never noticed about this power she has, but then suddenly this and this and that. But like, and then the other time, this guy, he used to be working by himself, but then Overhaul introduced himself, and I was like, man, it's a lot of narrator talking over their backstory these days. It's no longer like what it's not much of what they've shown from themselves, which I think that one is more effective than a narrator telling us what we should think or what we should feel about that guy. It's more genuine if you have the character describing themselves and portraying like some like kind of like how they did it. Like it was going well with the Sun Eater, those three guys where they explained their backstory. There was no narrator, if I recall correctly, and it flowed well. So I was like, oh, these guys really have a home, and they're not truly 100% evil. They're just doing for their own right.
For their own benefit.
Right, exactly. They have their own reasons, legitimate reasons. So it's like that. But then like much later on, it becomes a whole narrator doing this and that, explaining everything. It's more better when you show it. And you can still tell it, but not so much in your
face.
Right, not so much in your face in the exposition style, especially early on with like the cops were being heavy exposition. It was kind of funny. But yeah. Another thing is the villains, the henchmen. Like I know I'm not comparing to One Piece, because One Piece, when it comes to henchmen, One Piece henchmen always sticks out as a very unique characteristics. Even if they are wiped out quick or not quick, they still leave because of the characteristic and the personalities. It was going okay for My Hero Academia until you get to the last three, except for Chrono. Everything like the last three and minus wrap up, they were, more or less disappointing. And like they didn't leave too much of a impression for anybody else. So it's just like, they're just pretty much fodders, a cannon fodder for the benefit of the heroes to get some development from their own self, which is fine and that's normal. But it would have been intriguing, in my opinion, if you just give them a little bit more personality to them. I thought, like, while I appreciate the backstory of Overhaul, I thought in combat wise he was disappointing, and it sucks because I like his design. I like the character. I like the villain's design. The entire 8 precepts designs. I like their designs with the whole bird esque
plague thing, like the doctors from the Plague of London and stuff.
Right. It's like it's cool. It's like you could tell where the mangaka get the influence. It's pretty. It's there. It's definitely there. I like overall design. I like how he was portrayed in the first introduction to the League of Villains. He was like, holy shit, this guy is like scary as hell.
Yeah.
Then when he gets his
Sorry, go on.
Then when he gets his fight, it's like, damn, he's such a ragdoll until the first transformation. The second transformation is obviously made for, let me show you my real power as one for all in 100% mode, shall we? It's more of that. It was super obvious. And I can
that bit reminded me of Naruto versus Gaara in the Shikaku form bit kind of thing. I have to be honest.
Well,
but okay, I don't.
Sorry, go on.
But here's the thing, and you're gonna hate me because look, I know you guys don't like Naruto, but there are times I had to praise whenever his credit is due, right? So Naruto, you talk about Shukaku. I think that's how you say his name, right?
Yeah.
When that happened, it still didn't let Naruto to be like, I got something that overrides that. There was nothing like that. It was more like shit. Huh.
No, yeah. No,
I gotta find a way now.
Yeah. That I actually have to agree with you 100% on that, because Shukaku versus Naruto, like, despite my thoughts on the series, I will say this: that fight actually still holds up.
Oh yeah, it's like one of the best giant monster battles you could get, and that's saying something because the giant monster battles.
Because once Shukaku came, I believe that's when you had Gamabunta show up, and then you had the big him transforming into the Nine Tails, and I was like, that's cool. And
right.
That ended up with a bang.
Right. But so yeah. Going back, it's sad because the second transformation was made for that. The first transformation is actually more compelling to me, and it was more to me. I find it to be more exciting because not only you got his first transformation, it's a shonen trope, you got to power up, but I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
At least it's not like on some DBZ shit where it's
right. Right.
5 minutes. You're like, oh, okay.
Right. But
Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that.
but like you got that, and then you have Deku, who's like, shit, I can't really beat him with like 6%. I really gotta go 20%. But there's a time limit because this will actually hurt me. I can't withstand 20% that long. So it gives you that tension, like, holy crap, he really got to take him out before he screwed himself. This is like his
Luffy's Gear 4 for Naruto in his Sage mode kind of thing.
Right. It's like that. It's like that. You have a timer. It gives us the reason why we should be hoping he take him out. Otherwise, if that thing runs out, we're done. You know?
Exactly.
Like we need tension. Like, I know I'm jumping around right now because we're discussing this, but when you go to the unlimited, whatever it's called, 100%. Yeah, they do have a timer, quote unquote, but it never really sticks out so much until the very end, which is the latest chapter, the last chapter, 159. It was the last chapter. It's like, oh yeah, now you see the side effect. Yeah, but it never give us that, like, I gotta hurry up. Why he's not down? Damn it, Ares is going out of control. No, I gotta focus. I gotta take him out. I got 100% for now. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. There is nothing like that. It was just like, all right, for you keep talking about we cannot change future. Well, guess what? I can. It was more focused on that. But when you go back to the 20% one, it was like, he was like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that now. I have to do this one strike. If I don't get the strike, then it could be all over. But I can't think of that. I gotta take him out now. That gives you a reason, like, holy shit. But when you go 100%, it's like, it's just like it's not really about the fact he can never do it. We saw him do it. Fine. We all know that. We're not that dumb. We're not blinded. We understand. Our problem, or my problem, because I don't know these two, my problem is the fact that it happened so conveniently to the point that, like, the whole last transformation only became a body bag, only became experiment for Deku with 100% when he doesn't have to do the flickering this finger, but rather can use it from super jump speed, from super speed and a hovering style, and the whole multiple punch that should take him out, which it did in one chapter. So that was the whole reason. I know that he could do 100%. I never said how the hell he could do 100%. I never said that. I said that, like, now you should destroy all the tension away because you could do this for a long time. So long, whatever she does, when Eri doesn't go out of control, which happens just at the end when everything is already done. So in that regard, the boss battle was disappointing. And I know not every boss battle has to be like Stain versus Shoto, Deku, and Tenya. I know that, but my point is the tension, is what you have gathered, is what they are threatening, what makes them so, something so dangerous, what makes them very scareful, like frightening, like what gives you that, like, that suspense where
that you could die against this guy, because I mean, the beginning of the arc, it's shown that you can die against this dude.
Yeah, like, there was a lot of tension built up with Overhaul. Like, right. He had this presence to him where I felt like, shit, like, how are you gonna take him out?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I understand it doesn't have to be the same fight. I'm not asking for the same fight, but I'm asking the formula, the format. There's a reason why people started to dislike Naruto after Pain Arc, because the formula that made it work, that made them be a fan, is no longer there. Like, hardly there, or if not, just no longer there. The fact is, the fact is, okay, I can't say the fact is, but what I have gathered, and the last chapter made me realize that there are people that actually believe this series is not shonen trope galore. I mean, it's not like Black Clover. That one is very visible, but it knows that. My Hero Academia.
Black Clover is very aware of it.
It's honest about it. So right.
I'm not
it's a B-rated manga.
right, but I'm not saying My Hero Academia doesn't accept that or knows it. It knows it too, but the fans don't want it to know it or doesn't see it. They believe
They
it's
don't
very
admit,
unique.
admit to it.
They believe it's very unique or very
Original?
substantial from it. Like they so separated from the tropes, the cliches, even though in reality it is still there. It's just done well. But in this arc,
It's like
more
a Game of Thrones kind of style story. It's like
right, but
it just like reverses. It's just like it takes old tropes and reinvents them and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, like well, yeah, you can say it like that. But again, but this arc it uses the cliche and tropes in the most basic way. So I think because of that, it makes them realize that they're reading the series that is still shonen. But some people don't think that way, or people are just still like cool with it, and that's fine. But my point is, there are a lot of people that actually believe this series is very unique, is very fresh, is very new, is very not shonen trope galore. It's nothing like that, but it's still there. It's just the fact that this arc has the most basic level, especially lines like you have changed the future, Deku. There's nothing like a way to make it seem more meaningful, or that is straightforward, which is fine, but it gives you the idea like, yeah, you're in that shonen trope world. You're in that world that you trying to escape from any other series. You're the one that trying to belittle Black Clover because it does all of that. But while My Hero Academia has shown you that, and there are people that's like, oh man, this arc, I was waiting for this and stuff like that, but now I'm changing from 9 to 7 in terms of the overall rating of the series itself. That's this guy's opinion, but I can see where he's coming from. And again, this arc is playing more safe compared to other arcs, because the other arcs, it feels like they were more inventive.
There's more tension involved to it.
Right, there's more inventive to it. Again, you compare it to Stain, or you could compare it to All for One versus One for All One. The whole battle, you could compare it to any of that. You could compare it to Deku versus Shoto. You could compare it to that as well, because there's a lot of good story behind it. Now, the problem with this arc, it's the background. The problem with this arc is just that with the boss, it feels very shonen in the old basic style, with the whole I got the power up, you got the power up, this guy got the power up, we both get the power up, but you somehow override me, the end. There is nothing really like that whole style of like, okay, this guy is serious. This guy is freaking dangerous. What can I do to beat him? I don't know. Maybe unless I know how to utilize this wall bounce, and then I can finally get him in a very slick way. I could do that. I could use strategy. That's what makes it special, because they do that, and that's what makes that also Deku part special. The only thing he uses brains is use Eri for 100%. Everything else is very basic. It's very straightforward. It's very I got power, you got power, we got power. That's the again. I understand not every arc has to do it, and that's fine, but it is alarming because the fact is, in my opinion, after Hideout Arc, you said?
Yeah, the Hideout Raid Arc, that one.
Yeah. After Hideout Raid Arc, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like Naruto after Pain Arc.
No,
I would not go as far as that.
Like that at all.
But you could try to argue it's like after Chunin exam. Depends how much you see the search for Tsunade, the rescue of Sasuke arc. Depends how much you see it. Basically, what I'm saying is you hit the peak. You peaked it with that arc.
All for One.
Right. And now the later arc, they're not as great.
That's kind of like watching Avengers and then going to Age of Ultron.
Well, but that's movie. That's more like, sequel always not going to be as good. That's
I suppose maybe going from Avengers to Iron Man 3 and For the Dark World, perhaps that's a better example.
I think the better example would be, maybe in a strange way, it'd be Call of Duty. Yeah, some of them would be better, maybe, but can you change the formula? Can you change something? Because it's gonna get old, and it did. Even if you did change the timeline, some helps, but point is, you gotta do something inventive. You gotta do what like how the old Call of Duty, like yeah, that Call of Duty Part 1 was crazy. It's like the actual war because you got a lot of characters, you got a lot of people in one screen. Then Part 2, man, better graphics and better intensity. I said Part 3, Part 2, but Part 3 is different developer. Now you go Part 4. Holy crap, it's super different. I'm gonna make this popular. You know what I mean? You gotta hit that.
Then you got what was it? It's not Black Ops. It's not. It's the other game. What's it called? Was it World at War? No.
Yeah, World at War.
Yeah, you got that one.
Game. The point is like you want to be anticipated for the next arc. This you have 2 arcs already, and they're both not in as par as the previous arcs, the tournament, the festival, you want to call it.
Yeah, like honestly, if we compare the festival arc to the intern arc, not the intern, the license arc, like they're both pretty good, but I would probably say the sports festival has a much better edge to it.
I'd say the sports festival is like a 9 or a 10 rating for an arc. Wow.
Sports festival for many is where you could say I am a fan of My Hero Academia.
Right.
In other words, that's the arc to do it. Same thing for tuning exam. Yeah. Same thing for tuning exam. Oh my god, I'm becoming an Naruto fandom. You know, because of the tuning.
Let's see. The Hero License Exam arc would be more of an 8 at best, I think. Maybe like a 7.5.
If I have to give score, I think 7 in the way.
Yeah. I would probably say 7.5. That would be my best bet.
Yeah.
Which, in terms of my own rating, that would just be a straight up good. That's it.
So yeah, like I think the Hideout Raid Arc ended like 98 or 99 around there. And this is 59 chapters now. We got 59 chapters aftermath, or maybe a little bit more. And 99
is when it ended. So yeah, at the very least 60. It's been at least 60 chapters.
Well, yeah. So now like 59 chapters. That's like we only like 50% out of 100 chapters to make it seem like it's a half of the series. So you're not keeping, in my opinion,
like the consistency isn't like it's still there, but it's like I don't want to say it's diminishing. I don't want to say it's diminishing, but you are noticing some like waning qualities to it.
Right, it's wavering. I'm hoping I can be proven wrong in the next couple of arcs. Maybe next arc, who knows? But
yeah, because honestly, like. That's kind of like the best thing I have to say is the way how this arc actually ends does kind of set up stuff where you're like, okay, we went through this arc, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Sparta.
That's cool.
But actually, the funny thing is, you pretty much said what I wanted to say.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually not joking about that. I actually had the same problems as you did when it came to this arc. But the one thing I want to point out that you said was the whole aspect of it feeling like a shonen. The thing is, prior to this arc, like there were some shonen elements in the My Hero Academia arcs beforehand,
of course.
But it wasn't like it didn't like really hit me in a way where I could like easily recognize. I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing, and that's unique. Getting to this arc, I'm like, okay, because I totally recognized it, not like in the beginning, but I would probably say the second we got to the base. Once we got there, that's when I started noticing things, and it's like you said, it just got basic, and that's the thing that kind of threw me off a little bit, because so far My Hero Academia, for what it does, it reinvents things and makes them unique. And by the time we got to the base, I'm like thinking, okay, it's cool, I like it, but it's kind of, I don't want to say it's generic. It's not generic.
It's not No, it's not. It's just. It's playing safe, a little too safe.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, again, another con is the ending was rather.
It was a little rushed. It was a little fast-paced, if you ask me.
Yeah, like I
But
was
like
just waiting for
at
Deku.
least another 5 chapters or something.
I was just waiting for Deku to jump on the screen, jump to the screen like some Flash Gordon style. Yeah, because he did the mission, he succeeded. That's cool, but it's not that I'm saying the series has gone downhill. It's just wavering right now. It's like it could have gone higher or could have stayed on the same position as what people likes to claim it back in the sports festival arc. Especially animators, excuse me, especially the anime fan guys, because I know they still riling up on that arc, but things like this, it could make them reconsider, and that's not a good thing, because I mean, granted, it could be like the Naruto effect, like, oh yeah, I love the previous arcs, and no matter how trashy it gets, I'm still gonna like the series because I like what happened back then, which is fine, but that I guess you could say you no longer have to worry about too much. And I have to mention, this is the one arc, minus the beginning, or maybe in the maybe only in the very beginning, that the ranking was not that pleasing for the fans in this one.
I noticed that. I really noticed that when it came to this arc.
Right. That was very strange. Like, it used to be in the top 3 often, like even during the Hero Lysis arc, but when this arc happened, it hit the middle. One time it hit the bottom 5, which scared me.
I was like, what? I was like, what?
Yeah, that scared me. People got scared because they were like, we're gonna lose our Titan in terms of the series of the shonen. No, that's not true. But yeah,
it makes me wonder if the story arc was forced to to shorten it a bit because people were starting to get tired or starting to downgrade it and stuff. Okay, just wrap it up and then we can move on to the next one and stuff. Because sometimes that does happen.
I think our best bet is to either wait for an interview on like what Koei has to say, or like wait for the volume to come out. Because I have noticed he mentions like stuff that goes on like within the arcs and like his thought process behind it. So I'm hoping at the very least, like when we get the next one, not the one that just came out, but volume 17, I think. I hope we get like insight on like what kind of went down like in the process of the arc. That way we get like a broader scope of, okay, so this is what happened,
And lastly, well, actually, there's 2 of them, but I believe the second last one have to be saved for later on. And yeah, trust me, I try to avoid this topic, but it is the elephant in the room. It's definitely the elephant in the room that everybody has to bring it up. But we're gonna discuss that later. I'm pretty sure what Lucky Chi knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very like, no, I'm not gonna exaggerate. It's not like, oh, we have entered the Naruto status. I'm not exaggerating to say that degree, but it is very head scratching on how it was done. The last thing I have to point out is like, I guess it's like some character did drag on, and some characters kind of disappoint me in terms of usage. Some of the character usage, I thought Night Eye was impressive in the first time when you go against the twice, but after that, it's funny because his future predicts, like, I wished he didn't say his prediction. Well, not prediction. I wish he didn't tell the future he saw, because to me that ruins the tension, in my opinion. Because when Deku was listed as he's going to die, I'm thinking to myself, so yeah,
he's gonna survive.
He's gonna survive.
Unless we're planning for a sequel already, I don't see him dying. So that part ruins it. And yeah, there is a way to balance out by saying like, well, maybe you could have him dead, and Eri would reverse that to him being alive, and that would have been.
It did not go that way. It did not go that way.
No, instead they went to the most basic way of handling the future bending rules thing, which again, that was rather weak in my opinion. It feels forced because you're making the character too much stand out as the chosen one, even though it's not a chosen one level to degree.
It kind of feels like it though in some ways.
Yeah, and the fact they hammered it in, which is funny because they didn't really hammer it in
like beforehand.
Right, they didn't make that as a theme before the arc really began. So when Night Eye is the one that brought it up, it's like everything has become that theme. The whole future bending. You can change the future, nothing's determined. It's like it just keep on shoving it in. And I'm like, we don't have that before. And I I know I should not be comparing to the previous arc, but my point of comparison is what to do in your writing and what not to do. And what he's doing is what not to do. It's shoving it in. We understand the first time. We don't need to know many times. We don't need to make this into a new theme. It's like the whole scarf issue in a similar way. Or suddenly you bring up that scarf and you make that as a theme. It's like, really? You gotta do that just because you hold that on your behalf? Why? So it's like that for the future. Like, it should have stick to Night Eye only, but instead it stick to everybody. It's like, now we're talking about the future. Now we're making this into a theme. And, again.
Like, it just felt tacked on.
Right. And again, it was impressive with Night Eye going against Twice, but then we got the off-screen going against Overhaul. And if he's not going to die, you should never have done that. You should have at least have us watch him fight and then get his ass kicked. But now we're like, so your whole thing becomes a moot point. And the fact that we didn't see you fight, I guess you're not that impressive, huh?
Like, honestly, if Nana had actually died, I think that would have raised the stakes a lot higher, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's a bad character, because he like, Night Eye is great, but in terms of like what impact the arc could leave off, I don't really remember there being that much, as far as I know.
Right. That's like one of the problems of it. Yeah, and the whole future thing, honestly, it was done better than the other series, but I'm not gonna compare for that sake. All I'm saying is that those type of things, you either try to make it more realistic by saying you may change some, but you can't change others. But at least you can do something. Instead, we have to believe he changed completely. And that's it.
Yeah.
No explanation, no reason for it. It's just, he did it.
Yeah, he changed. I'm like, that's it? Really?
That's it. Yeah. You change. Have a great day. Jump to the screen. Yeah. And that's it.
It's
so
like
it's like the talk no jutsu without the talk no jutsu.
It's not talk no jutsu.
You could say that.
Well, it's not. It's just that you got other series that do more risky move. They say like, you can't save this guy because he's like you can't save this guy because he's like robotic, cyborg, whatever, and it's pretty much impossible to change him. And then later on in the story, you find out that the guy really cannot be changed, and it's a hard message, but it's a risky move that makes a more emotional impact. So to me, in this case, especially you got a guy who could see the future, it should have been like that in a way. Be like, I see you try your best, but sometimes some futures that has been foreseen cannot be changed. Maybe you can change it, but in this case, you couldn't. It could have been something meaningful, but instead it went to play safe. So
honestly, It feels like this future is inevitable thing isn't going to happen in this arc, but it's going to happen with what has been hinted at the beginning of this arc.
Okay. I don't want to spoil. Well, actually,
that's not going to spoil. It's like
no, it's not spoil, but I don't mean to spoil for people who don't read One Piece or watch One Piece. But I think One Piece did that part better, because in this one, they pretty much established he changed the future, because Overhaul is arrested or something's about to happen. But he's no longer taking Eri. He's no longer the killer for Deku and Night Eye, because they're both saved. So so the entire future is bended. Everything is good now. Mm-hmm. What One Piece did better in that regard is you have this character that see the future, that sees Luffy destroy the island itself.
Doing a terrible thing.
No, but yeah, he destroyed the island. He looked evil, whatever reason why. And then the arc goes on. You expect that to happen, but it didn't happen. So you're thinking Luffy changed the future. Then at the very end, she broke the crystal ball, and they established that the future is not from that time. It can happen anytime. So it leaves you guessing when that will happen. Because they said it themselves. It's like, what she saw is the future that could happen at any time. It doesn't necessarily have to happen in that arc alone. So to me, that makes it more tensional. It makes you feel like shit, I gotta wait for this arc. I gotta wait for whenever that happened. It's like if you see it happen and you're gonna be like, oh, that's right, that's the prediction. Oh shit, is different, you know, or oh shit, it happened, you know. That's what I meant to say. Like that would make you like, holy crap, gasping for like shock because it still exists. That future did not happen. Will it happen? We don't know, and that's what makes it exciting. So with My Hero Academia, it's established. So we're done. I know the guy's probably thumbs down with this video. I'm sorry, Blue. Sorry. I am lucky.
No,
Chi.
no,
Oh, no. It's all good.
It's not that. It's just that.
They're gonna thumbs down because of me. If I find my channel and thumbs down every My Hero.
No.
It's just that.
Like, you go back to your channel and you lose like 3 subscribers. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
It's like, it's my own thoughts. Honestly, let's see. For me, this arc is disappointing. I mean, it's still good. It's just not as good as you expect My Hero Academia should be. It's kind of like I kind of was saying earlier. It's like you're more hyped after like Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy. You expect this, and with like the Ultron trailers to be like, oh, the shit's gonna be for real, and it's a bit disappointing. I mean, the film is still good, but it's not on the level you expect it to be, kind of thing. I mean, the arc starts off with like Twitch, you know, the multiple quirk dudes searching for villains and stuff. People are still having like the after effects of All Might's battle with All for One. It's interesting just to see how the world's reacting and stuff. And yeah, these new guys are come along, bird masks, and yeah, they're showing a lot of promise. And it seems like what this arc is setting up to do, the League of Villains and the 8 Precepts or Yakuza, whatever you want to refer to them as, like forming like syndicates, like teaming up alliances, building up like partnerships, massive operations. It seems like the League of Villains is taking the next big step, even if they're not going to be the ones in charge for a while. Heck, there may be even some like hints of like a double cross kind of thing. Meanwhile, with the hero side, you're introduced to like the big 3, like the top students, like possible, like, okay, All Might's gone, so who are going to be the OP guys? Who's going to be like the top fighter guys? And it's these new big 3 guys, and each of them a bunch of oddballs, but they show a lot of promise and stuff. Particularly when you have one of them go up against nearly the entire class 1A, and he beats them all, and it's just like, damn, this guy is the legit. It's kind of like with A-Team kind of thing. This is like sort of like semi-Sonic kind of thing, I guess. Kind of expand the My Hero Academia thing while interning with these different kind of heroes. Fat superhero that is actually quite serious and stuff when he wants to be. This lady that can turn into a dragon. Also, for life kind of went on a big, huge ramble on about this guy. Night Eye, the guy who was the only sidekick to All for One. Kind of learn through like with this Night Eye thing that Miro was the guy who was supposed to be All Might's successor. And this could create like an interesting dynamic with like Midoriya and Miro for the future as, hey, this is the guy who was supposed to get my powers and stuff. And then suddenly, when they were doing their first internship, mission and stuff, well, before that, we learned that something is bad is gonna, inevitably bad, it's gonna happen to someone. I'm not gonna say who, but while we learn that not only is it Midoriya that's also doing internship, we're also getting a bit of internship with, Urakara and Tsuyu along with Red Riot. We end up encountering a bunch of no-name good-for-nothings, and they've got, thanks to like Yakuza guys, got this like drug that can nullify quirks. So yeah. It seems like what we're dealing with in the future, dealing with this arc, is crime, drug dealing, and stuff like that. Especially becomes apparent when it becomes a bit dark, where the way they're doing this is using a young girl and damaging her and stuff. And it's like, God, things just got real. So they're planning a sort of like big operation. Think of like Sasuke retrieval arc, but with an army, when it comes to teaming up with all these heroes and police and stuff, as we're introduced to a few other new heroes like Rocklock. Yeah, the first black male superhero, because Night Eye has a black female psychic called Bubble Girl, who was from a fan drawing competition stuff. So yeah, fan design thing. Yeah, the first 2 black superheroes. Progress! Anyway, sorry, terrible joke there. I'm sorry. And let's see, they're beginning this massive operation, and in many ways, I kind of like how they set it up. Yakuza has like 8 expendable warriors. The first one is a big muscle guy that's taking on all the girls. So yeah, it's sort of like girl power kind of thing. And then it's like
They tried. Yeah, sure.
yeah,
Tried.
Let's see. Well, at least that's what you think it's going to be, but we'll get to that a bit later. Other big three dude, the one that's all depressing and the one that's usually with red eye and stuff, is taking on 3 bad guys, and they use the power of friendship. And then Red Riot and Fat Gum versus these other 2 guys and stuff. And it's actually I actually quite like the setups, because I think one thing different about this group of villains is instead of like going into one-on-one fights, they're all group battles kind of thing. First one's just pretty much is the standard multiple good guys facing this one big tough guy thing, while the next one is like this one dude taking on 3 separate bad guys. So yeah, it makes it this elite dude taking on 3 multiple bad guys. That even gives him for a run for his money. And then it's the classic 2v2 kind of matchup thing. And it's actually quite good. Let's see, we're coming with like the later 2 stuff. The one taking on 3 guys and the 2-on-2 fights. Those are pretty good. Although during like the Red Riot stuff, that's when the pacing started, I think, to go a bit wonky and stuff, because we got a flashback and it kind of ended a bit short. And then, of course, that doesn't say everything out after that wasn't promising, because earlier, let's see, when Red Riot the other day was tailing with these no-name thugs, Shikigakure was finally willing to cooperate with Yakuza. It's pretty much, let's see, okay, we're working for you, but it's going to be an equal partnership, and you're going to tell me this and stuff like that. Let's see. And he like reveals his plan that he's going to do like a drug dealing thing to like, get rid of everyone's quirks and stuff. We also kind of then find out that he's also sending members of the League of Villains to assist him and stuff. So we get a fun Midoriya and Aizawa versus Toga fight, and Twitch versus Night, I think. And the fights were pretty good for how long they lasted and stuff, but it kind of went a bit off with the dude that the Yakuza member they were teaming with, like this dude that can control walls and stuff, not part of the 8 Expendables. He seemed like one of the top 3 men, kind of like one of the big bosses. Well, they kind of turn on the dude by just getting him all pissed off, allowing Midoriya to take him out. I mean, it's fine and all, but it feels like they're doing the double cross quite soon and stuff. I mean, you expect the 2 sides to do double crosses eventually, but it feels like that was rushing, because it feels like the Yakuza guys would be a bit more long-term than I thought and stuff. And then we get to like Miro confronting like Overhaul with like this other Yakuza guy who's also one of the top members, along with Eri being there. But before he can get to that, he has to quickly take on the other 2 Expendables, who get kind of pwned and stuff quite easily, because Miro's supposed to take on Overhaul. And the fight with Overhaul is actually quite good. Granted, it's like, just let's see, granted, you expect Miro to be set up for when Midoriya comes and arrives, and he is kind of thing. And he loses his powers when, let's see, the new drug they do that can destroy quirks permanently, and he kind of does a sacrificial moment for Eri, because this would be his only arc. You feel like something's going to happen to him. He's going to die or something, and it seems like he was going to lose his powers for good and stuff. Of course, he shows how truly heroic he is and fights on, with not at least last long enough just for Midoriya and Ko to arrive. Fight gets a bit interesting, but it's during this time I've kind of noticed how a particular fight was being dropped, and with this particular characters, but we'll get onto that a bit later. And then it starts to get all powered up and stuff. It's kind of cool, but it feels like it's going too fast kind of thing. The fight that's happening earlier kind of gets concluded and stuff, and it feels like flashbacks are all over the place. I mean, I know people kind of like always criticize Naruto for flashbacks and stuff like that in their fights and stuff, but I will give Naruto credit is that it will do all the flashback stuff straight away, not do it piece by piece kind of thing.
Well, they still have a problem using a flashback that actually happened in manga already.
That's true.
They have that problem.
That's very true.
That one, that still exists. That one is actually worse than the Boruto, worse than My Hero Academia situation. Because you gotta remember the part where Naruto first meets Sasuke after 2.5 years. It was like 4 pages of flashback that we already saw. So think about that.
Now it's when Naruto's not doing the repeated flashbacks I'm referring to.
And then
Yeah.
the final fight, let's not forget the final fight. Them
It's more like-
flashbacks happened again.
Yeah.
It's more of like the flashbacks of like new content stuff, like the backstory. That's what I'm referring to. You know, like
And
let's
yet
see.
Kaguya got no backstory.
Okay, yeah, okay. You know, I suppose the Obito backstory thing, kind of like perfect example. I think it's like, let's see, it does all that first, then gets it out of the way, and then enough talk. We're fighting now and stuff. If that makes sense. Granted, you could argue it went on a bit too long, but still. Then Erie's powers kind of get a bit complicated, and it kind of detensifies the situation, I'm going to say, because Overhaul was kind of, in the beginning of this arc, just be like a guy that can kill you. After all, he kills one of the League of Villains members, and then it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Goes to this big monster thing, which is, you know, I kind of expected Midoriya to fight some big, powerful kind of thing in the future, just as his like debut thing. I was like, everyone pays attention, but it gets rushed, which I think Full Life kind of went into detail a bit there. It ended in a sort of typical shonen thing. Midoriya does beat the bad guy and stuff, but the League of Villains take Eri and stuff. I felt like that could have made the arc a bit better. I mean, they won the battle but lost the war kind of thing. But luckily, the last arc has Shigaki on the move kind of thing. That's my thoughts.
Good job, Mr. Encyclopedia.
Yeah,
I should have brought it up about Mary. It's rather disturbing how people actually wanted her to die because she's like a walking plot hole. I never heard of that till today. But not till today.
I didn't even think about that until now. I'm like, huh.
A walking plot
Well,
hole?
shonen manga will not kill children unless it's flashbacks.
Well, that's true. Well, yeah. Yeah, Full Metal.
Okay, Full Metal, okay, let's see, but Full Metal's a bit more of a mature shonen.
So now we have to branch off.
Yeah, right?
Let's see, Shonen Jump Advance, I suppose.
But that's American talk.
Exactly. Still Jump.
Okay.
Because America's very complicated, like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, even though it should be only Dragon Ball.
Okay, let's see. Shonen, Shonen that generally feels like it's for 13-year-olds.
Basically, Hunter x Hunter. Got it.
Yes.
Or Death Note. Or Bakuman, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're next. Lucky.
It's weird because I pretty much, and I already said this earlier, but I pretty much just have the same opinion as you guys do. I already had everything like mapped out in my head as far as what I was going to say, and everything you guys did, and I'm being truthfully honest, is actually what I feel about the arc. For me, I think, because we had a lot of things that happened, and I'm surprised. I mean, I think we brought it up one time, but what really, one of the few things that stood out to me about the arc was, and again, it ties back into the Hideout Raid Arc, was the whole conversation between All For One and All Might at the jail cell. Like, because I remember when that part was happening, I'm like, oh, shit. Like, that was, like, only in the beginning phases of the arc. Like, we didn't really even take off from that point. That, to me, was just, like, further establishing that, okay, like, the things that are going to happen from this point forward are going to be ridiculous. Like, if we're already going to this specific point, Deku is supposed to represent the new symbol of peace, while Shigaraki is supposed to represent the new symbol of evil. Is that what it's called?
And this arc is pretty much him building up his crime syndicate thing.
Yeah. So I think when it came to that perspective alone, like what it was setting up too, like when we first get introduced to Overhaul, when we first get introduced to Edie, perfect. I would say up until when we got to the base stuff, which I mentioned earlier. That's kind of when I started noticing that things were not going easy. I don't want to say that. The pacing just felt weird. I don't know. There was just, it's the first time in My Hero Academia where I felt something was off. And I had never felt that way in My Hero Academia before. Like, I know a lot of people had always said that the pacing was always fast. To me, I thought it was natural.
Honestly, I thought you guys and if other people were just going a bit crazy. It was like, okay, you guys are being a bit overcritical and stuff. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, so when I noticed that I was having a bit of an issue with the pacing, I knew something was a little off. And we addressed this earlier too, but also when it comes to Koei, like the fact that he was taking his breaks. Now, granted, the breaks could be a little coincidental. It could be coincidental, but this was the first year where he did take more than, like, outside the holidays. This is technically the first time where he did take more than one break. So that kind of got me a little scared. And I did notice some things here and there. Like, again, the flashbacks are cool. How they were structured, I felt could have been better. And just like how you two address, like, the Red Riot stuff, I liked. And then things after that, it's not to say that they're bad. Like, I like where things are going, especially the Overhaul and Deku fight. My issue with the fight, however, is really, when I'm, like, reflecting back on it, the fight itself wasn't underwhelming, yeah. But that's more so because of how it concluded. Like, overall, I would, like, the fight's good. It could have been a lot better. Like, it could have been, like, another All Might versus All For One, or another.
You could even have, like, some of the other heroes taking part of it, even if it's just support.
It's funny. Okay, not to compare it to Black. Well, I guess I could kind of compare it to Black Clover, but the difference that I'm noticing, at least with this arc and what Black Clover did, at least before its recent arc, is that when you would have the fight taking place, like, you would have, like, a group effort going in. And with how, and that, it's funny, because that's how I kind of pictured this whole thing with Overhaul was going to be taken care of. Like, we were going to have, like, this group effort, like, Deku, maybe Ochako, which technically, I guess, in a sense, you could say kind of did work, though it was kind of unplanned. And honestly, I think that's just mainly it. Like, my thoughts on the arc, it's not a bad arc, okay? I'm not gonna say it's like one of the worst. No, it's far from that.
Like a 7 arc. It's like a 7 out of 10 arc.
Yeah, I would give it that. I would give it at least a 7 out of 10, which to me would just equate to good. That's just kind of my thoughts on the internship arc. Now, again, the way it ends, it does set up a lot of things where I'm like, okay, moving forward, we could probably get to similar grounds. Like, let's say that. We could get back to, like, similar grounds to, like, what the previous My Hero Academia arcs have kind of done. I'm not saying you have to repeat things that have taken place, but as far as, like, the groundwork goes, that's just kind of it. And yeah, overall, that's my thoughts on how I feel about the internship arc.
Granted, I still feel like the series is going to make one of those. It could still make one of those manga comeback things, because I feel like One Piece, after the Whitebeard Awards, the Battle of Marineford stuff, it was kind of on a sort of decline kind of thing, where the arcs after it weren't really all that good, from, like, Fisherman Island to Dressrosa, and then started building up again after, Sao arc, and then to the current arc, and it's just phenomenal again. That kind of thing.
Yeah, like, honestly, when it comes to Boku No Hero Academia, or My Hero Academia in this case, either way, I don't want to say we're going to be going on a downhill spiral. No, I don't think that's what we're going to get, at least as far as right now, because it's just been one arc. As far as looking on the horizon goes, which I think we can segue to the next. Well, actually, hold on. Before we get to what we expect for the next arc, let's touch on what I think we've been all waiting for, which surprisingly I didn't like. Same with, and I know Sparda mentioned it too, which I'm going to reveal right now, is the whole, okay, it's not like Naruto level, but I guess how the female characters were executed in the arc.
Or as Full Life kind of dubs it, Kishimotoized.
I was just joking. I was joking about that. And now it seems like it's becoming a reality. Okay.
By the way, folks, this is what they were. By the way, this was the thing I was pointing out earlier and stuff, when they were just saying, "What did you do, BlueStarSaber?" My one constructive criticism is like, okay, why are we not seeing the female characters fight and stuff? I mean,
I try to avoid this because maybe if I don't say anything, maybe we would get surprised and be like, "Oh, look, the female characters are doing something! Yay!" And there was a moment that was like that, and then
it was kind of just rushed. It was just rushed, really. It was just like used to set up, let's see, the final stage of Midoriya's fight against Overhaul.
I don't think it was rushed. I just think it was poorly executed. That's it. But what about you guys?
Well, I'll let Blue Stars talk first.
Let's see, Okachaku and Suyu were going into this thing I was like, okay, yes, I'm hyped, because These two are like the two biggest female characters in the series, and it's been a while since we've seen them fight and stuff. Not since Toga, I guess. Okay, granted, they were all fighting in that, let's see, hero exam arc, but I mean, like, in a personal fight thing. And yeah, it seemed like this could be the next sort of like gal since, I don't know, since when and stuff, but let's see. But yeah, they're fighting against this really massive opponent. All of them would probably take all of it was like getting like a big teamwork kind of thing. In many ways, I was kind of hoping for like another Sakura Chio versus Sasori kind of thing, though in a smaller scale, granted. And okay, it just kind of moved past them a bit and say, sure, it's going to come back to them soon and stuff, but then no, by the time that it was going with Overhaul, I was just like, is this going to be like off-screen defeat? Because I really don't see it. But then they come crashing in and says, okay, I'm hyped now. I'm just, because it makes me wonder if now, since Naitai was doing this prediction of Midoriya just then, I was just wondering if they were just going to like, Midoriya is going to work with Tsuyu and Okitaku and Uekara in a similar manner. They arrived to help save the day along with the third year girl, in a sense, similar to how when Midoriya and Ida were fighting Stain, Tokuro Shoto arrives to help them out in the fight and stuff, and it becomes a sort of like group fight like that. I was still kind of hoping for it when the Overhaul merged with the big guy, because this seemed like one of those big boss level kind of things that you need more than you need like the guy at his max potential. You also need like a group of people to help take it down and stuff. But I'm not sure what happened to Tsuyu. I forgot what happened to her. Or the girl that shoots heat lasers or something. But I remember Uekara kind of did a Hinata when it falls down and stuff. Granted, she does something during the end of the fight, I think catching someone, I'm not sure what, but yeah. Could have been like, the final fight could have been a missed opportunity of having like a group against a boss battle thing. Still, I do think My Hero Academia is still far better than the Naruto thing, but it just has to be careful with what it's doing with its female characters, because I do recall Uekara was voted #1 in the most hated female characters list in Japan somewhere, and I'd rather that not happen. I'd rather not happen again, to be honest. I'm done.
All right, that gets to you now, Sparta.
Yeah, sorry. I think it's better to say you'd rather not to have someone to be similar to Sakura. That's the last thing we need right now, guys.
Yes.
See, a character with potential ending up like what Kishimoto did with Sakura.
Yes. Masashi Kishimoto, let's be specific here.
Yeah, since like she is a big fanboy of his twin brother.
Hey, we'll get to that discussion another day.
Indeed, we will. But about the female characters are concerned, as far as they're concerned, the thing is, I believe that again, it's been over 50 chapters, and I think a lot of us remember the whole hero license exam with Ochaku, where her character went through from that arc.
That was big for her. That was pretty big.
It's big.
I mean, she was coming to terms with her feelings for Midoriya.
Yes.
Right. And besides that, how she would see for best for now just to put them aside and focus on the hero stuff, and not getting Midoriya's way with romance and stuff.
Right. So now you go with this. Now you go to this arc. The thing is, to me, from what I see from a lot of people, and I don't blame them if they feel this way, but I think because the fact that we got a lot of them in terms of like talking, normal progress level, in terms of like, just, they're doing the school stuff. They're talking to each other to learn. They talk about what they learn and what they're doing. They develop from there, here and there and whatever. But then you get to the action. It's like, well, we don't need them to do anything. Now, granted, they're not fighters. I get it. They're supporters, but they haven't done much as support. And for over 50 pages, wow, only over 50 chapters, we don't really get to see them in action. That's like, maybe if it's a different universe, maybe if it wasn't a battle shonen manga, this would be okay. But since you're in there, you gotta to get your hands dirty, and none of them have yet. That's something that people will grow impatient. And I'm already starting to see that. It's not the fact that like we need to have them to do something every arc, but it's been way too long now.
I mean, there's
over at least when did if I remember correctly, the Hero License Exam arc ended back in 114, so it's been over 40 chapters.
Yeah, but I'm talking about an action concern. She
Well, yeah,
hasn't
that's true.
done any action. None of the females has done any action. What's okay? And there's one thing that I could understand in both angles. Now, on one hand, yeah, you know, I can understand like, oh, we didn't get that many female characters to participate in this chapter, this arc, and it's like, well, yeah, that's true, but you know, you can't have many, you can't have them to do every time. The problem is that the one that overweighs that idea, that approach, is the fact you got not one, not two, not three.
A lot. You got a lot of them.
You got literally a group of female characters, and none of them done anything significant, let alone anything that's like the same level as like the standby character, the supportive character, like such as Red Riot, and the support is Fat Gum, even though it's vice versa. But the target audience, the target is on Red Riot. So the problem raises more that you got 4 characters, or if you want to just cut down to students, you got 3 characters, and none of them did anything. That's striking. That's alarming. I mean, yeah, it's exaggerated, probably so. And honestly, I'm not gonna count out on the mangaka saying like, okay, he's really not good at female characters. Okay, like if you go to like Naruto, let's go. I guess.
You mean like during the Sasuke retrieval arc, they just only had boys on the team and stuff.
Okay, but the thing is, if you have all guys and nothing more, we stick to that. We're fine with that. It's like sports anime. We're going to a sports anime with boys only. Fine. I'm not expecting anything from female side. I mean, maybe exactly, like if they're coaching, fine, they're coaching. I expect coaching. If they're cheerleaders, fine, they're cheerleaders. I expect cheerleaders.
But if they're actually taking part of what's happening, then you expect them to do something.
Right. You're in the battlefield. I expect battle. I didn't get any. None of us got any. That's the main concern. And that is hard to actually try to argue or trying to convince the audience that like why the female characters didn't get anything, because you got 3 of them that literally just got sidelined. What makes it worse is when that chapter came out that everybody thought the females are going to do something, and they got brushed aside, and they were only made to be a package delivery, which overhaul ends up fusing for the final battle. And then what makes it kind of like a massive FU was Night Eye saying, don't go even bother doing anything because you're just not going to do anything different because my future says so. That is such a Kakashi to Sakura saying, no, you can't do anything with Naruto and Sasuke doing stuff. Like,
It's like, okay, like, I get that the mangaka admires Kishimoto, but don't copy what he does with women.
Like,
Sorry, what?
All right, let's hope that's not really true.
I don't think that's the case, but
that's not the case. I'm not saying he's doing bad with female characters. No, he's not. He's definitely not. But I do think he has to elevate them, because otherwise we'd be stuck in like, say like you see this female character. This character is good, and you want her to get better. You want her to be awesome, great. You don't want her to remain the same thing because you know there's some potential. We wanted to see more of that. But if you're stuck in the mid ground, then we're not going to progress any further, and that character will suddenly become whatever's. Like, you don't want that. We want more. We want the full package. If there is a full package, if there's a bigger package than we have gotten already, you know, that's the thing. It's like a character who plays innocent, and then she becomes a fighter. So if you're gonna become a fighter, fine. You gotta show me what you got. And you do great, you do a lot fantastic stuff, awesome. You become a better character. It's kind of like saying, like, you know, you could technically have a perfect character by having the most one-dimensional character, because there's no flaws. But ironically, the flaws will be you're so one dimension. So basically, you're playing safe if you're not making it into a complex character. If you do complex but execute it perfectly, you have a great character. So with the female characters, as of stand right now, they have to be more than just a slice of life character. They gotta be it gotta be what a battle shonen is, or they gotta be just a character itself in any ground. So with Like it was highly disappointing to see them in action. And which makes it much worse, is that we have Nejiri or Hado, whatever you want to call her.
Yeah.
Basically one of the big three. These two got their spotlight. There was no hints or no foreshadow for Sun Eater to get any connection with Mirio in a very deep level, not as a best friend, bromance level. But he got it, and that's cool, whatever. So why not Nejiri? Why not Nejiri get anything connected?
It's kind of like with the Kages in the war arc and stuff. All the Kages except the Mizukage got screen time and stuff.
It's like that, yeah. You could go with that idea. It's like that. But again, you got that. She's a brand new character. And I know people would say, like, well, maybe she would be saved later. Yeah, but this is like the best time, because this arc was meant to be a big factor of the entire series, because this is the first time without All Might. This is the first time that Deku has to do some huge struggle without All Might, and the fact that he has to go against a gang, and the fact that he has to redeem himself one way or another for messing up to be as a hero, which, by the way, maybe it would have been a bigger, better story if he did fail overall, but whatever, that's all for up to debate.
The only female character, not counting Eri, that did stuff in this plot was Toga. And the villain.
But we're talking about Heroine.
We're not talking about
Heroine. We have to talk about Heroine. And yeah, you can say that though, but we're talking about Heroine because, again, Ochaku got the whole mind straight on Deku dilemma thing. Fine. But we need something more out of that now. And it's weird because you got a series that's being hated by many right now.
We're referring to Black Clover here.
Yeah. And later on, or even not that later on, you get eventually that the female character has done more in action. Action. Development is simple, but it's good. It's good enough. But the fact that they have battles and they have developments, you got a good package.
And the latest arc in Black Clover was a pretty good example of that.
Exactly.
Even one of the reasons why I think Fairy Tail, in some ways, was a bit more popular than Naruto and Bleach during its final days, because regardless of how you feel about Fairy Tail, at least focused on its female characters.
Right. Even if our trade-off is, well, we gotta have fan service, we still get something out of it, and we still get we get people talking. You don't hear people getting. You only get upset is the fan service, because not a lot of people like ecchi stuff, believe it or not, which is fine. But the point is, you don't hear too much complaint on the female can't do crap. They always had to. They act like they had to belong into a kitchen or something. It's not the case.
No.
And again, My Hero Academia is not in that level, but we have to start seeing them being more fleshed out in terms of action, in terms of like in battle development in action. Like, you gotta make us see them differently, a little bit more differently than we already have in the slice of life timeline. And it's such a taunt, in my opinion, even though it's most likely not. But honestly, it feels like a taunt when Chrono was about to kill Aizawa and Sun Eater take care of him, and then you got Suyu shows up very late. It's like, I wouldn't mind she did that part instead. That feels like a taunt, like, oh, I came late because I'm a female. So, Chaco, again, she did have her development around 109, because how I remember that is because of the post I made a while back. Key Game liked, so I remember it vividly now. But yeah, still, this is a great time to have action, and it's worse, and to make much worse on the top of the worst of the other worst. You got one of the strong heroes too, the dragon person. Yeah. She didn't do anything either.
Ryukyu, I think. Yeah, that's her name, Ryukyu.
Yeah, she's like number 10 of the heroes or something.
She didn't do anything either.
So
that's too much to bargain. That's too much to ignore.
To ask for, yeah.
It's too much to ignore that, like, oh, the female characters aren't a problem at all. It's really hard to digest that, honestly. And again, we're not saying, or I'm not saying, at least, I'm not saying he's doing a horrible job for female characters, but
no, because he could. And sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Like, and the thing is, like, Kohei has shown that before that he can do it. I mean, the sports festival was kind of like a good example of that.
Even the stuff with Momo in the heroes exam, in the teacher's exam kind of thing.
Yeah,
also.
you got that, and then you got the simulation too, with Deku and Ochiko when it came to Ida
Also,
and Bakugo.
the arc after the teacher's exam thing with like the camp thing where with the B class.
Yeah, that was good too. So that's what we're saying, guys. Like Koei can do it, and maybe it's not just me and Sparta. I think Blue Star too, but I think he just had a little bit of a slip up. That's it.
It's possible. I mean, I would love to hear the backstory of it. If there's something with the editor, I'm gonna be upset, but we'll see.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm just hoping it doesn't do that again. And it still sucks that we don't get to see. Like again, I know these characters aren't much of a fighter. I don't know about Nejiri because thank you, no screen time. But I still want to see what they can help out. I want to see what they could do. Like I understand it's funny because Tsuyu is popular female character or even a character herself, but she hasn't done much. So it's like
not much since the villains raided the UA stuff.
Right. That was the last time. Again, plus 50 plus chapters ago.
Yeah, that was.
And the thing is, you have her coming along. Why? You know, there's no answer to it. It's just
there's no answer to it at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's and the worst thing I could say is like, well, these female characters probably were there because if you buy the volumes, you get some good fan service posts. Not exactly like, oh, I see underwear shots, not like that, but more like the poses, like, oh, look like like the poses, like because I followed this person that posted a pictures, and I tend to joke around. One of them, I got a lot of likes for saying like, "Oh, I was like, oh, it's the least I could do for her since I can't give her any fights at all." You know, I quoting the mangaka, even though that's not a real quote, but that's the point is I'm saying like, yeah, I can't do anything with these girls, so the best I can do is fan service them up for you guys. Cool.
Even Kishimoto didn't go that far. I have to admit.
Yeah, but it is kind of it's not weird. It's not weird, but it is interesting that I did see a lot of female poses in volumes as to say that's who they worth. but seriously, it's way too early to judge on the whole how he sees the female character.
It really depends on what he does with them in the next 2 or 3 following arcs, I believe.
Yeah, like that's gonna be the biggest indicator right now.
And that's the sad part, because it's not like with other mangaka, other series, I would have been like, all right, next arc, this character is gonna be involved. Cool. You know? Instead of every other arc, it'd be like, oh, it should be fun. I can't wait for that character. I don't know who she is, but she looks awesome. Or she's awesome. She acts awesome. Whatever. But now with My Hero Academia, I finally got some like, hopefully he does well. And I wish I didn't want to go to that resort, but now that's happening.
Yeah, which I mean, as far as my thoughts go, that's pretty much what I gotta say as far as the whole female thing goes. And I've been thinking, like, it's a slip up on his end, and he could fix that problem like with the upcoming arcs. He definitely could. So I guess now, I mean, if there's still some things you guys wanted to add in, then
let's see. I guess the
female characters or just
just in general.
Female characters.
No, not much. Just
I am wondering if the anime will at least try and do some filler bits for them and stuff.
I think that would benefit it actually.
It would benefit some degrees, yeah. I guess. Yeah. Well, it's not like we're asking them to be as developed as the main character, because honestly speaking, I'm so sick of tired of the excuses about Shonen Jump equals female lackluster or whatever.
No, oh yeah, definitely. Because
I despise that excuse. Every time you hear that excuse, you're only protecting your series because you love that series.
Exactly.
I don't care what other reason
gamers. It's like with gamers and damsels in distress in a sense, I guess.
Right. But my point is like if you excuse that, my point is if you say that, you really have no real argument. You just try to do your best to defend the series you love. I'm sorry. I just don't believe anything else because that excuse should not even warranted. It's the same excuse as to well, this is better than this series. It's like, so did you do know there is an impression call, but that's not saying much. So if I say that, what is your counter argument on that? Nothing.
It's nothing really. No, I can't really think of anything.
Yeah.
Except maybe like saying, well, they at least managed to do this bit once. Like, at least that's I think I used to when I used to defend like Naruto's female things. I mean, I used to like defend certain fights like Sakura versus Sasori or Tamari's fights and stuff like that.
Yeah, I pretty much kind of wrapped up everything on my end too with when it comes to the female characters. So I guess now we can get to like the final part of the podcast, which is going to be the next arc. What do you guys expect for things to go? Because the way how this recent chapter ended, it feels like that Shigaraki is in. I don't want to feel like that because Shigaraki didn't play such a big part. That's why My Hero Academia has been feeling a little stale because I don't feel like that's the case. I really don't feel like that's the case. If Shigaraki does play like a big part and say like in like the next upcoming arcs and the series does kind of get back to what it was, then maybe it's also because like Shigaraki didn't play so much like of a huge big role like he did in like the other arcs. So if things start changing like in the positive way because of that, then I feel like just based on how the last chapter ended, we're probably going to get some stuff with Shigaraki.
Yeah.
Since he was absent for like a majority of the arc.
I feel like he's going to hijack the 8 Percepts of Death's plans and do it for himself, and going to increase his influence among the other villains groups and stuff. That's what I feel like it's going to happen. I even wonder if he might even have a clash with Midoriya and such, or possibly might try to do stuff with the Nomu if there's any left and such. Probably look into the possibilities and stuff. As for the heroes, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure certain Night Eye and All Might are gonna meet and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably do some school stuff before like preparing for like I don't know, maybe another exam.
Let me say that. Like I do think Shigaraki is gonna play a big part, but I think like the next arc we're gonna get is gonna be like it won't be as long as what
it's gonna be the calm before the storm.
This arc. I think it'll probably be short. Like say maybe like a volume, 2 volumes worth. That's what I'm thinking.
Alright, fair enough. What about you, Full Life?
Well, I think the next arc. Well, we may not see the villain in it for a while, but I think we're gonna see what they're gonna do exactly. What they're going to do with the 8 precepts and overhaul included, as well as probably taking the shots for themselves for their benefits. We're gonna see that happening. I hope. And then it's going to shift focus to the heroes, which I think they're going to go back to doing the school daily life, whatever the next thing will happen. Supposedly, maybe we're supposed to have their class with the other class or the other school. I mean, it's like a 2-school collision.
I did hear that in the manga because there's that dude that has the talking quirk thing, mind control quirk, is going to have a role in the future. Right. It might be that.
Right, it could be that. It could be that. So maybe the next arc will be school-based arc again, which is fine. Depends. Hopefully it will be better than the Hero License and closer to more of a sports festival one.
Yeah.
So
I'm partly wondering if there might be a student exchange thing, or at least they might visit some of the other schools.
Well,
I mean, who knows?
I mean, only time will tell. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, so long is better. Like the
quality, the pace, and how things are executed. As long as that ends up being like going back up on a high note. Again, guys, it's like we've been saying. We're not saying this arc is trash. It was just a little underwhelming.
It just feels like a Fisherman Island kind of quality level.
Is it really that bad?
I don't think it's that bad.
I think what people like to compare is Dressrosa, not in terms of length, but in terms of
Actually,
I was getting to that bit, but I was saying that it's like One Piece kind of going a bit downhill during the bit when the first part of the time skip was starting between Fisherman Island, Punk Hazard, and Dressrosa, then rising back up with Zao, and then Whole Cake Island.
I don't know. I never heard bad thing about Fisherman that much.
No,
it depends where you look. Depends where you look.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
It depends where you look. It depends where you look.
Yeah,
I guess so. But
I mean,
yeah,
I did see
I think that'd be a good way to say to put kind of messing up all my words.
sorry.
I did find one, let's see, sort of One Piece online site criticizing Fisherman Island arc for 5 problems. One of them was, I think, the animation's pacing and stuff like that, but that he said that he meant that was an anime only thing. The fights, Hody's motivation, and Sashiri, Princess Sashiri as a character. But yeah.
So when it comes to the internship arc, I think what Sparta said was probably like the best, and Blue Star also is probably like the best way to describe the internship arc. It was just kind of like on a Dressrosa level. Not to say it's bad. It was just good. That's it. It's a good arc that has some issues with it. That's it.
Well, granted, I will admit I don't really like Dressrosa that much, except for certain parts of it, but that's just me.
Well, the point is what the people majority thinks, or at least over the message board. And yeah, I did encounter a similarity to that Dressrosa reaction, at least from my quick experience. But the point is, we have 2 back-to-back arcs, which is both deemed to be not as good as the old ones. So now we need a rebound. We hopefully the next arc will be the rebound. I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've covered almost everything, unless I'm missing something else.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered everything.
All right, so aside from that, guys, that's pretty much the My Hero Academia podcast, the internship arc, Blue Star, Sparda3g. It was great having you guys on board again, especially for Tokyo. My Hero Academia. I'm so used to Tokyo Ghoul because we've been doing that every week.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, no problem. It's great to be here, even though it's like 3 a.m. in the morning here, and I'm blaming For Life because he was an hour and 30 minutes late.
Well, yeah, it's been a fun as always. It's always good to have an extra person that is Blue Star, even though I drag him off this late. But
Yes, if I'm late for work tomorrow, I'm blaming you.
well, at least we have fun. That's the important
Yeah,
part,
that's
right?
the important thing. As long as we have fun, I think that's all that matters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm Lucky7.
Sparda3g.
I'm BlueStarSaber.
And plus Ultra.
Ultra!